Hello and welcome to a very special video, everybody. Let's talk about Gundam Assemble. Now, this got my attention because, one, I like tabletop games, especially miniatures. You could probably tell by the 40K content. And I like Gundam. You can probably tell by the Gundam content on the page. So it's kind of hit my fancy on both lines. Now, I had assumed for a while that they were going to move into this to a degree. I just didn't know what form it was going to take. So here are a few things from what I've noticed about what I've seen and what I've read about it thus far. So the models themselves are about 2 inches tall. That puts them in line with kits like Def Guard, the current Commandorks, basically some of 40K's miniatures themselves. Now, that's not bad. It's not a terrible scale. I'm not upset about it. It means a lot of people aren't going to be able to use their Gunpla. Like, there are some free systems that did that. But, hey, it's going to be easier to carry around, I'd assume. And from that, I've noticed a few other things. And that is simply this. I believe it's going to probably be a skirmish game that will have some fluctuation in size. I believe it's going to use cards, though I'm not sure 100%. I think there's a card game, but it might be tied into it, might not. It might be a good way for just the rules. You put your little card out for that individual unit and have all your rules there. Not always a bad thing. Could be useful, especially when learning a game. But we have quite a grab bag of units. We have like Gundam Wing, we have the original Gundam, we have Char Zaku, you have some Seed units, you have an Archangel, you have a Kapul, you got one of the variants of the Unicorn. It's a lot of random suits. I was kind of hoping for more themed options. For example, I was hoping there'd be like 1 Year War with like 8th MS Team or something of that manner. War in a Pocket, where they're kind of themed around those conflicts and have units that are in line with that. I think it's going to be more of a grab bag, so it's going to probably be more like a build fighter style game where you just kind of use whatever you feel like. In addition to those units I listed, I saw a Sinanju. I've seen the ball with 2 of the balls on one of the little stands, and I saw a Zuda with the anti-ship cannon, which is our anti-ship rifle. My bad. I've also seen 2 poses for the GIM or GM. I've seen a Zaku 1 in the shoulder butt pose, and I've seen 1 Zaku 2. I believe there's a Def Scythe as well for Gundam Wing fans, but sadly for all of us like me, there is no G-Fighter that I saw, and definitely no Tequila Gundam. But on the other end, from what I've seen of the sprue, or runner as they call it, it's very much in line with what they tend to make for the Gunpla. It looks like it's a pretty good quality. I can't tell if it's a snap fit or if it's going to need to be glued, but I will say this. They are going to probably be predominantly monopose and very simplified, which could be a breath of fresh air for some people, but they won't be painted. These will require painting, so do be aware of that. They're not quite like the Gunpla that are individually colored and you put them together. They're going to be far more simplified, especially considering the scale of the models. Now they have different sets that are going to be teaming up with the cards and the models. And I don't know what to say. In addition, they will also have the Tolgis. They got some Gundam Seed units, but I couldn't care less. I never liked Seed. So if you like Seed, you have a look. There's at least some options for that. But what can I say outside of that? Well, really simply this. I'm concerned that it will be priced similarly to 40K. I know there's a temptation to charge those kind of prices and make those kinds of returns. And to a large extent, wargamers have been somewhat conditioned to buy things at these kind of ridiculously high prices. I just don't think it's good. I think especially Bandai would be better off by having them be on the cheaper side. You're more likely to get kids. There's going to be more people who'd come in because of that. I think you'd get more people checking it out, and I think long-term fans would just buy more. You'd still make a good chunk of money. You'd just be kind of edging out your competition, which they kind of do with the Gunpla kits already, depending on the kits you purchase. We don't know anything about the rules as of yet, but from my general gist, I think it's going to be a skirmish-based game. It's going to use hexes like Battletech. It's going to have kind of smaller boards that are going to be themed, or at least the ones they've shown from the demo images I've been able to get a hold of. I think it's going to be using D6s strictly. And I've also seen the Zong. So it's a decent kind of selection. I wish the boxes, or if they bring out boxes, they were either more themed or more consistent. I'm personally more interested in the grunt suits than the star suits, if you get my gist, or main character suits. I would have really liked an 8th MS team kind of box that has the ground Gundams with the various loadouts and kind of character to them against Doms and Zakus and a Guff Custom and Norris and all of that. I think that would be really, really fun and interesting. But hey, they're probably shooting for as much of their audience as they can and as big of selection as they can. Because let's face it, Gundam appeals to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And not just people who watched it in the 90s, I guess, or 80s or 70s. It's a lot of people that have interest for a lot of different things. Just personally, I like the grunt suits. I'm kind of looking for something more along that lines. But I'm going to be cautious and say, I think it's going to be a skirmish game. It's going to be fairly quick. It's going to have a fairly streamlined set of rules. It's going to go and touch on the biggest and most popular things, and it'd just be kind of a grab bag. It'd be up to you ultimately, dear viewer and potential player, to kind of seek out the things you want if you want something themed. But from what I've seen, the models look reasonably detailed. It's nice to have another big company step in and compete. I mean, this is what will make companies like Games Workshop have to do more and better for their customers, other than, shitting on them, and to continue to compete and to continue to hold any degree of dominance. Now, we'll have to see how it does, but I do plan on checking out Halo Flashpoint as well. So let me know, are you interested? Have you any interest in Gundam? Are you looking for something that might be a little bit more skirmish? Is it your first time being interested in something like this? Let me know. I would love to hear what people think and what they would like to see out of it. Are you afraid it's going to be blind boxes and cards and madness? Or do you think it's going to be sold in a more traditional manner, potentially in more locations than Games Workshop traditionally does, considering the availability of Gunpla in many places? I can get it out of Target, where I go down and shop occasionally. So let me know. I really want to hear what people think, because hey, it's Gundam. It's a tabletop miniatures game. It's got my interest, and I'm definitely going to try to grab some of it. So thank you, and have a fantastic day.